Good afternoon, greetings from Jerusalem, Jane. I just wanted to give you a short update coming out of Jerusalem here right in the midst of the Feast of Tabernacle, Chag Sameach to all my Jewish friends and followers. This flag was flying in a Palestinian village near Hebron, and Israeli soldiers were seen shooting it down earlier today. I posted a video about that on all my social media. Absolutely horrendous that the Jewish people in 2021 living in their God-given homeland has to look at this demonic flag blowing in the winds. The same evil that tried to wipe the Jewish people out during the Holocaust has been trying to wipe the Jewish people out down through history. Why? Because they are God's chosen nation. Why? Because the promises that God made to the Jewish people is forever, and forever means forever. This doesn't mean that the enemies of Israel is not trying constantly to wipe them off the face of the earth. Forgive me for the noise. I am living next to a construction site, but hey, it's part of everyday life here in Israel. I have been speaking about how in Judea and Samaria and also here in Jerusalem that everything is on high alert, especially during these high holidays. 2 weeks ago, a terrorist carried out an attack in a cosmetic store very close to Central Bus Station, a shop where I have been shopping many times and where I had plans on going that day. It came out that day that the security establishment had prevented other terrorist attacks plotting for Jerusalem and also in Judea and Samaria. Hamas is in charge of Gaza, the terrorist organization who is ruling the Gaza Strip, but they have been trying to get a stronghold amongst the Palestinians living in Judea and Samaria because they are not happy with the Palestinian Authority led by Abu Mazen, the terrorist in a suit. The security establishment in Israel knew that a Hamas cell was plotting a major terror attack. Reports are actually saying here in Jerusalem. So early this morning, special forces went out in several cities and trying to capture these terrorists. They were met with heavy gunfire, and in the midst of all of this, 5 terrorists were killed. Hamas has acknowledged that 3 of those terrorists belonged to them and the others was with Islamic Jihad. They are in charge of Jenin. The terrorists in that city are armed to the teeth. So the IDF knew when we are going to come trying to arrest these terrorists today, we will be met with heavy gunfire, and that is exactly what happened. During these altercations, 2 Israeli Defense Forces soldiers were injured and they were taken by helicopter to the big Ramban hospital in Haifa, and they have undergone surgery, and they need, according to one of the doctors in that hospital, they need more surgeries. So would you please pray for these 2 heroes that they will have a full and a speedy recovery. So that's the situation right now. Major terrorist attack was prevented with these terrorists being neutralized this morning. I saw a report saying that these terror attacks were actually the biggest being plotted towards Israel for several years. So this is no joke. Everything is on high alert here in Israel. The security establishment is on high alert throughout Judea and Samaria and also here in Jerusalem. Again, I apologize for the noise, construction. But listen, guys, when you are sitting in Venezuela or Sweden, Holland, America or Brazil or Japan, and you're saying, Jane, what can we do? What can we do? You can pray. First and foremost, you can speak up for Israel always speak up for Israel. Always be verbal about your support for Israel and the Jewish people. Because when you stand for Israel, you're standing with God. I am saying over and over, God and Israel are one. And that is why we are seeing all of these attacks coming against the Jewish people. It's a demonic hate towards what God loves the most and what God has put his reputation down on, and that is the Jewish homeland. So when you pray for Israel, you are making a difference. When you pray for the Israeli Defense Forces, for the security establishment, you are making a difference, because your prayers is helping preventing all of these terrorist attacks being carried out. So when you don't hear anything in your mainstream media, it's not because things are quiet over here. The enemies of Israel are scheming and plotting every single day to try and liberate Palestine, which is a man-made idea from the pit of hell. This land is the Jewish homeland given to the Jewish people. God doesn't change anything. He doesn't take his covenant back. He doesn't take his promises back to the Jewish people. But the attacks, they still keep coming, and that's why your prayers is making a huge amount of difference. So again, Israeli Defense Forces were met with heavy gunfire this morning in several Palestinian cities when they came in to arrest these terrorists. 5 terrorists were killed, and Islamic Jihad is already out promising a revenge. Hamas is going to come out promising a revenge. What is that going to look like? Is it going to be rockets start flying again from within the Gaza Strip firing into Israel? Are more terrorist attacks going to happen? Thank you for standing with Israel for such a time as this and for praying for Israel. There is an eternal power struggle going on between the different Palestinian fractions. That is also why we are seeing some of these things going on. Thank you for praying for Israel for such a time as this. It makes a difference. Bye.